Alrighty, so once again, this was Opportunities 101. Today we're going to cover all of the features and the options that you have within your opportunities portlet within the command system. So I am at agent.kw.com and I'm going to log into my account. And this, of course, is the homepage for command. So this is where you'll have kind of like a sneak peek to each one of the applications on the left-hand side here. So if you click on the KW on the left-hand side, it'll give you an expanded menu where you can see all of the applications that are available through command. Today's class, of course, like I said, is for the opportunities. And we're actually going to start off by checking the settings. So we want to make sure that you're using or that the DocuSign account that you're using to get signatures is connected to your command account. So you're going to click on your name. We're going to go down to settings. And we're going to just make sure that you have a DocuSign account connected through here. This is how you're going to get access to all the forms, as well as if you have to capture signatures, this is how that's going to happen. It's via DocuSign. And then, of course, we do not offer .loop at our location, at our office. However, if you have an account that you have upgraded or that you're paying directly to .loop can be used with command. And it would technically work exactly the same as it would for DocuSign. But for the office, if you are an agent who is an independent agent with us, you would just need to worry about DocuSign for the opportunities section. So just make sure that you're connected here, and then we're going to go back over to the homepage. And we are going to, the first step to creating an opportunity, and I'll put some notes here in the chat on the steps that we're going to do today. So these notes are from our friends over at Scott Laurie Marketing. They have a ton of good resources that I use myself to get ready, as well as to learn any updates. So these are the notes that I'll probably reference throughout class that will give you access to other videos, as well as a step-by-step manual on how to create an opportunity. So I provided both of those via the chat in the Zoom room. Once I upload this video to our YouTube channel, Tampa Central, on YouTube, you'll be able to also pull up the notes there. I'll put them under the description of the video. So let's go ahead and get started with the first step of creating an opportunity. So the first step, of course, to creating an opportunity, you want to make sure that your contact is already in your database. So what we're going to do is we're going to click here on contacts. Alrighty, for today's example, we are going to create a contact and we're going to then create an opportunity. For today's thing, I'll use a listing as the example, but the steps will be the same no matter what type of opportunity you're dealing with. The steps will be the same. You're going to want to create a contact, and you're going to want to follow these steps. So we're going to go here and we're going to click on create a contact. I'm going to just use a name that I know is not in my my database. And all you need to save in your to save a contact in your database is going to be a first name. Of course, to send paperwork or to do any kind of communication via command, you're going to want to at least have an email address and or a phone number. But all you technically need to save a contact within the system would be a first name. So I'm going to go ahead and type in an email address here. If you are dealing with a client and you have more information like their phone number, their address, where they work, all that good stuff, you can go through and put in as much information as possible. For today's example, I'm just going to use an email address because that's technically all you would need to put an offer together and create an opportunity. We're going to go ahead and click create. All right, now let's go ahead and find our contact. So here's our contact. I'm going to click on that. And this is the contact card. So this is where all the information that you have saved will be available to you, and anything done through the system will be time logged here under the timeline. We're going to be working under opportunities. We're going to create an opportunity using this create opportunity button now that we've created the contact. Before we do that, I'm going to go over here and click on opportunities and open up a new window. You can create an opportunity two ways. You can enter the contact in and then go under opportunities once you click on the contact and click create opportunities, or you can just open the opportunities portlet after you've created the contact, and you can go in here and you can click on create opportunity once this loads for me. So let me just refresh here. So once, if you enter in the contact and then you go under opportunities, you can create the opportunity just by clicking here under create opportunity. The reason I would prefer to go under the contact name and then go to opportunities is because you can see if there are any other opportunities for that contact already created, or if you can't find your opportunity, this is a good place to come and find to make sure that you're not missing something. So of course you can filter through these, but all the opportunities for this specific contact or any contact will be listed under opportunities. So we're going to go ahead and click create opportunity. So this is where you're going to enter in the information to get things started. So it's going to default to the market center, which is Tampa Central. If you're on a team, I'll cover something in a couple minutes on how that's going to work for you guys. But for a single agent, you're going to go through here, and there's only a couple of these fields that are actually required. So we're going to go here and we're going to select listing, but of course you can select buyer, landlord, or tenant. For this example, I'm going to stick to listing. And if you're doing it directly out of the contact card, it's going to default that contact here. And then you can put co-buyers or co-sellers or whoever else is involved in the transaction here if you have them in your database already, of course. And then here for the opportunity name, it's going to default to the opportunity to the contact name and the opportunity type. All I'm going to ask for you guys to do here is also add the address, because if we receive any information about your property, it's going to be the property address, not the contact name, so that it's easier for the office to find your opportunity if we get any information or just need to look up the property for whatever reason. You can, of course, organize your opportunities via tags. So examples on what tags you can use for these. You can do sellers, buyers. You can do family, friends, coworkers, whatever. You can organize all your opportunities via the tags. The next thing here is the estimated close date. This is something that's not required. However, if you want to use the pipeline that I'm going to explain in a couple minutes, you're going to want to enter in all this information here because it will help you understand what's going to happen on the back end of your opportunity. So we're going to go ahead and enter in a closing date of February 28th. Estimated listing price, let's just go ahead and put 300,000, and commission rate. So on a listing, typically you would charge, something around 6% total, and then that 6% will get divided up to both sides, which means you would get 3%, and the buying agent, if they bring you a buyer, would get 3%. But however, you as a listing agent get to choose how that is split up. For this example, we're going to say that you're sharing the commission straight, halfway through. So it's 3% to you as the listing agent and 3% to the buying agent if you don't bring the buyer yourself. So we're just going to put 3 here. So I hope that makes sense. And then now, before I explain what these two required fields are, I'm going to show you one more thing here. So we're going to go here to the back to opportunity, the opportunity applet.
Next week.
And we're going to explain the pipeline here. So when you create an opportunity, you can create it right when you meet a person, even when you're not working with them necessarily on a house. But you can forecast, any kind of appointment or lead that you have using this pipeline. So for instance, here you have cultivate, kind of grow the plan up to appointment, then that goes to active to under contract, and then under contract to close. So this is the same for buyers and or leases. These are 3 pipelines that you can project your projected income here if you enter in all the information over here. So the numbers that I enter in here, they're going to make their way over this pipeline over here, and you'll see that in a couple minutes. And the same is true if this was a buyer or a lease. Okay, so that's how that works. You can move your opportunity from these phases using these fields here. Okay, you don't have to use these. This is simply if you wanted to use the pipeline the way that is intended to be used, then you would want to use those phases of the transaction of where it may be. Okay, the other thing I'll mention about the opportunity page here is it'll also give you ratios on how many, how much you're working with listings, buyers, or leases. It'll give you all that information based on what you're plugging into the opportunities details, as well as what's closed and your projected here. So you're going to see here, I'm going to go back to these two fields, and I'm going to put this under active because I'm putting in an offer today, and we are under negotiations. However, there's no wrong answer for this. If you're not using this part of the system, you can leave them the way they were, default, and just move on. There's nothing's going to happen if you don't use this part of the system. So I'm going to go ahead and click create. And now you'll see here that I have an opportunity for Arya Stark under my opportunity section here in the contact card. So eventually we're going to click here and we're going to go into the opportunity, right? But before I do that, you see here that my commission for this specific opportunity is 3%. I'm going to go back to the second tab here. And I'm going to refresh my page. And now you'll see here that, let's see here, where did I put my opportunity? So let's click on my opportunity. So now this amount here that I entered into my opportunities details should be on the other side of my pipeline. So let's go ahead, go back over here and refresh. So let's go. So there we go. So now when I refresh this under listings, I'm going to have a couple different listings. So let's go find the one that I marked active. Okay. So if I go here under active, you'll see here that I have a couple different opportunities. Here's the one for Arya Stark. So let's go ahead and click on that one. And you'll see here that it takes you back to the details tab, as well as all the other information for this specific opportunity. So going back to the pipeline, you can use this pipeline to move your transactions and see your potential income. I have other opportunities that are within these phases. So that's why this is giving you a higher number than the 3% of that 300,000. However, this is your potential income of your total commission. And then this somewhat takes into account your split with the broker. If you're on a team, then it's not going to take that into account. That's why it says probable, because this is an estimate of your total commission after the splits, of course. But we're going to go back to our details tab here, and we're going to do a couple more things within the opportunity. So out of all the tabs that are here, there are 3 that are the most important. And the 3 are your details tab, your documents tab, and your commissions tab. Under the details tab, we're going to do a couple more things. We're going to go here and we're going to enter in the address under property. We're going to hit the little pencil for edit. And then we're just going to fill in our fields here. And this is a made up address. So I'm just going to select whichever. These are in Florida. So we're fine. Florida. And we're just going to use this as an example. Hit save. Now I have my property address here, which will also ensure that the office finds my opportunity. I have my commission rate in here. I could also plug in the buyer's agent commission rate. All this stuff here is completely up to you. You don't have to use these features. However, the more information you plug in here, the more you can use the reports that are available via the reports applet as well. So that's pretty much the details tab. Everything you enter in here will filter its way over to DocuSign, and I'll show you what that looks like in a couple minutes. We're not actually going to do anything in DocuSign for today's class, but I do have an opportunity or a DocuSign class coming up next month that'll cover all of DocuSign and its features on a start level. But going back to the tabs here, we just covered the details tab. We're going to make our way over to the documents tab, and then I will talk about the offers and commissions. So let's go ahead and click on documents. And once you click on the documents tab, and this is where you would come to get your documents to kind of get started on the transaction to kind of get your offer. In this case, it's a listing. So this is where you would come to get your listing paperwork. But if you're putting an offer together for a buyer, this is also where you would come to start a transaction so that you could get all your paperwork together to submit that offer. So as far as the documents tab is concerned, the first thing you have to do is pick a checklist. So we're going to go here and select the checklist. These are the pre-filled checklists that the office has provided for you guys to let you know what's required per the transaction when it comes to compliance. So for this example, I'm going to use residential. However, as you can see here, there are a couple of different options that you can select when it comes to listings. So you have vacant land, condo listing, HOA, commercial referral, commercial lease, and commercial sale. Like I said, I'm going to choose residential, but every one of these categories has a different checklist that would pertain to those specific properties, for example. So I'm going to click on residential. And it's going to do a couple of things. It's going to give me 3 folders and 2 different checklists. One's my listing folder and one's my under contract folder. So now if I scroll down, you'll see that I have required documents, conditional, and optional. If you've ever used Excel, you can sort by using the column headers here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort by requirement. Now, when I scroll down, all of my required documents are listed first. Conditional is here, and then optional. Why would a document be optional or conditional? It depends on the property. So for instance, if you're putting the property directly into MLS with no lag time after you get the listing agreement signed, then you don't need a waiver. So that's why that one's conditional. And then all the other ones that are optional would be things like lead-based paint, HOA, CDD. Those are things that pertain to specific properties. So if your property doesn't require any of these, and you don't have to have that, of course. But going back to the required paperwork, you have here, you have your listing agreement, your MLS broker synopsis info, your tax records, and the KW standard disclosure, as well as a scan form. And then last but not least is the data entry form. The data entry form, one thing, I'm not going to cover the type of paperwork in today's class. However, I will mention one thing about this since we're here. The data entry form is a 13-page document that can be a little cumbersome to fill out. So a lot of agents prefer not to do that document. So in our office, Dallas and the broker have agreed that if you give us an MLS broker synopsis sheet, which you can get directly from MLS, initialed or signed by the seller, then you don't have to give us a data entry form. So what most agents do in this case is they simply just take the broker synopsis that's been signed or initialed, and they upload it here and they upload it here, and then that it's done. If you were to submit your listing paperwork and you still haven't done that, I'll send you a comment via the comments, and I will let you know, hey, I still need the broker synopsis signed, blah, blah. I'll always update you via the comments as well as the via the status. So the system will let you know that I've updated your opportunity, and you'll get a notification via the bell here, or you'll get a notification via the command app. But going back to the contract folders, you have your listing paperwork here, and then you have your under contract folder. So there's 2 parts to this. When you have a listing, there's 2 parts to the transaction. There's the listing paperwork and then the contract paperwork. And again, you can sort by the column headers here and hit require, and then it'll put everything in order for you. One more thing that I'll mention here is under the folder. So let's say you have a listing and it's active in the MLS, you go under contract, and once the property gets to the inspection phase, the contract falls through for whatever reason. Let's just say that the buyers, backed out and they didn't want to buy the house anymore. They decided to go somewhere else, or whatever the reason is. You have a contract folder. Since you at one point were on the contract, you're going to have to upload that paperwork to this folder. But now the property is going to now go active again in the MLS, and you're going to have a new contract, hopefully, that you're going to have to submit for compliance. You're going to go ahead and click here where it says under contract, and you're going to select add new folder. Here, you can name the folder whatever you want. Typically, I leave it just like this, version 2, and I hit create. So now when you have your original listing paperwork, and then you have your under contract paperwork, you have 2 folders that you can toggle back and forth from. This is just a way for you to keep track of your paperwork, and for the office to also have the paperwork on file, so we can always reference that paperwork if we need to. But now you have 2 folders, one for your old offers and one for your current offers. or offer. And if it's something that you submit through compliance, so for instance, if you submit your cancellation for this specific transaction, I typically will go in here and create the folder for you. However, if your property goes under contract before you even submit for compliance, then you can just go in here and create your own second folder in that case. Real quick, the other thing I'll mention here is if you're working with just a buyer and you are under contract and that contract falls through and they're still looking for another home, at that point, you would create a new opportunity with that other property address. Just because there's no way that you can go in here and start creating more folders if you're on the buying side. However, to keep it clean and to keep yourself organized, I would just say that if you do have to create, go submit an offer on a new house, I would create a new opportunity. And for the one, let's say it was the current opportunity that you wanted to just kind of get rid of it, you would go under the details tab and you would click lost opportunity, and it will take it out of your pipeline if you're using the pipeline. If you're not using the pipeline, then no worries. But that's how that works. So going back under the documents tab, we're going to do a couple more things. So I mentioned comments before. So if the office or compliance or myself, Marta, need to reach out to you, we're going to send you a comment via the opportunity. So you just click add comment. It's a lot like Twitter or Facebook. You hit the @ symbol and the entire staff, including the broker, will pop up here for you. And you can send us a message. If you want us to see your message, you have to click our name. So then it says @ and the person you're sending the message to. So for instance, if I wanted to send a message to Marta via this message, I'd put the @ symbol there, click on Marta's name, and then I can go through and type in my message. So there. Now, when I hit the reply button, you'll actually see that it says @ Marta, and now you know she's received your message. If you send the message without doing the @ symbol, it's going to be recorded in the opportunity, but the person you're sending the message to won't receive a notification that you're trying to reach out. So it's always important to use the @ symbol. All right, so now let's go ahead and start the transaction. So as far as the opportunity and what's all that's going on here, once you are going to create your listing paperwork to get it executed, you're going to go over here and you're going to click on start a transaction. Once you click on start a transaction, I have both DocuSign and .loop assigned to my folder. If you just have DocuSign, it's just going to take you straight there. So no worries there. So we're going to click DocuSign in this, for instance, but if you only have DocuSign attached, it's going to take you directly to DocuSign. So now that we're hitting start a transaction, it's going to open up a new tab. It's going to want you to sign in. So let me get my sign in real quick. And while I do that, let me see here, preferences. So once you sign in, it's going to load some of the required paperwork for you. So I have gone in there and some of the required paperwork on the checklist I have put in for you. So let me put my email address here. Oh, there we go. Now it pops up. Once you sign in, I have gone and in the back end of our account, I've put in some of the required paperwork. So example of the required paperwork is a listing agreement. So listing agreement will be in your room ready for you to just fill out. So here is all the required paperwork. So this paperwork that you see here matches the required paperwork that you see over here in your listing folder. So I've gone ahead and kind of preloaded some of the paperwork that you may or may not need for your transaction when it comes to, for instance, the seller's property disclosure. If it's an investment property and the person's never lived there, then you're going to have to use a non-seller's disclosure. However, 9 out of 10 times the person has lived in the property, you can just use this one. This is a form you're going to want to use, but as you can tell, it's not required on our checklist. That's just because it may be one of 2 documents, so I don't want to mark it as required. However, the rest of the documents that are on here, I have preloaded for you in your room. So in theory, all you would need to do is click on this document and start filling it out. The list price, who the owner is, so on and so forth is what you would do there. I'm not going to go into the features of DocuSign or how to fill it out because that'll be in my DocuSign 101 class next month. However, if you need to schedule an appointment to go over this, I'm more than happy to do that and go over details and all that good stuff. The other thing I'll mention since I'm here is if you open up our YouTube channel, every class, including this one, since I've started recording classes, is being uploaded to our YouTube channel. So if you type in Keller Williams, Tampa Central, you'll see here that our YouTube channel pops up. And here are all the videos that I've uploaded since I've started in October. So this opportunities class will also be available here after class, hopefully later today, if not first thing Monday. But that's our YouTube channel, and it's a great resource as well. So going back to the opportunity and to the DocuSign, that's how that works. So this is your required paperwork. This is that 13-page document that I mentioned to you that you'll have to get filled out and signed by the seller if you don't do the MLS broker synopsis. However, most agents will opt to just get the broker synopsis signed and they'll be good to go. One thing I will say is if you're a new agent, I would recommend using this form just because it's going to walk you through step by step all the things or all the items you're going to need to actually list the property for sale in MLS. So if you've done this a bunch of times and you are comfortable with the process, by all means, you don't need this document. But if you're a new agent and you need some help to figure out what's all required, everything in red here is going to be something required that you're going to have to enter the listing and make it active in MLS. But again, it's a 13-page document, so agents find it cumbersome to fill out. I totally get it. Most of the time you need the tax records as well as the owner to help you kind of get all that information and fill it out. However, once you get the hang of things, just have them sign the broker synopsis or initial it and upload that in lieu of the listing form. All right, so that's enough for DocuSign. We're going to go back to our checklist here. So once you have executed your paperwork in DocuSign and you've got it signed, then you're ready to kind of submit your paperwork for compliance. In theory, you would want to submit your listing paperwork before you have contract paperwork. So once paperwork is executed, the office does ask that you submit everything within 48 hours of everything being executed. But we just want to make sure that you submit it so we can review it and then we can put it in so we can account for it. All right, so the one thing here, once you're uploading paperwork, if you have it executed in your DocuSign rooms, you're going to simply click on attach files from DocuSign and you're going to click on rooms and then you'll be able to import paperwork over. Let me go ahead and add a PDF in here just so I can show you how that looks like. So we'll just go ahead and add this contract language here to my room. Let's say this would be, so once you get paperwork, these are DocuSign forms. Once you get a signed copy, DocuSign automatically turns those into a PDF. So let's pretend that this is that PDF. I got one of the documents signed and I'm ready to upload it for compliance. So I'm going to go back to my room. I'm going to refresh this screen here. And I'm going to pretend that one of these documents is the document that I uploaded. So if I go here, I'm going to go to DocuSign and I'm going to go to rooms. And then I'm going to go to tax records and there's that PDF. So DocuSign and Command will only see PDFs in DocuSign. So you want to make sure that you can only upload executed paperwork basically. So once you click on that PDF, now you see that that's been uploaded and you can actually click on there and review the document. One thing here too, you can remove the document or print it. And once you submit it, you'll be able to update the document as well. Right now you can remove it and then upload it. But once you submit, it may change the remove to update. One thing with Command and DocuSign, there's no way to really delete things. You have to just archive it. So that's why that remove turns into upload once you have submitted for review. So let's say you've gone through the checklist, everything's been uploaded the way we did there. You go up here and you click this submit to MC. This sends it to me and I will be able to review your paperwork within a timely manner. And then you can also send me a message that says, hey, Eric, just submitted, please let me know if you need anything else. And then I'll make sure to answer you back. One more thing that you can do here too, let's say that you have used another platform to get signatures. So let's say you're using Transaction Desk or Form Simplicity. You can use any form of online signatures to get your documents executed. It's completely up to you. If you're doing that, you're going to want to upload them manually from your computer. You're going to want to change this option here from DocuSign to manual. And then you'll see here that it says drop a file or browse. So what you can do is you can literally browse here, click browse, and then find the document in your computer. So then here's a PDF. I've uploaded it and there it is there. So I've uploaded it from DocuSign as well as from my computer directly. So that's pretty much how you would upload executed paperwork from DocuSign. One thing we're going to do here, I'm going to click submit. That will send my file over for review to the office, to us. Hit submit. Now that's been submitted and it's successful. Again, I'm going to send the message to Marta or to Danny. Let's do Danny. Please review and let me know if we're good. Done. Message sent to Danny for compliance. And now my file went from opened. Once you start attaching documents here, this is going to go to open. It'll go from open to submitted. And that's how you know that your file has been submitted. As I mentioned before, if you needed to update or take away one of the forms, you can just go in here and update the form. Once you submit it, you cannot remove it. However, you can replace it or just send me a message and say, hey, please ignore that one. It's whatever. That's done. So that's pretty much the opportunity in a nutshell. For the rest of the time that I have, I'm going to cover a couple of the features of the opportunity pipeline. So if you're one of those agents that wants to use the pipeline the way that it's intended to be used, this is for you. If you're one of those agents who just wants to knock out your paperwork and kind of, do the basic requirements and just move on, this is pretty much all you would need to know. Everything else that I'm going to cover here is going to be specific to the features within Command and the opportunities portlet, as well as I'm going to cover I'm going to take about a minute or two to cover some details if you're on a team. So if you're not on a team, just go ahead and ignore me for a minute or two, and then we'll go from there. So I'm going to go back to my pipeline. And I'm going to go back here. So this is my pipeline that we talked about earlier. And I'm going to click on create opportunity. As you remember, I created it the other one under the contact. You can also create it here. So if I'm going to create an opportunity and I'm on a team, some teams will default to the team, which means you cannot create opportunities outside of your team profile. So you'll have to create them under the team, and that's fine. That's up to your rainmaker or your team leader to decide how that works. However, if you're on a team and creating an opportunity within your team portal, what that means is everyone on the team can now work on that same profile, on that same file, as well as if you have an admin or a transaction coordinator who helps you guys out, you guys will all be able to see each other's work. So for this example, we're going to say this was a buyer. I'm going to search for Aria. And remember, I didn't have her in my database. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. So I'm going to go back here. I'm going to click on contacts. I'm going to look for Aria. There's Aria. I'm going to go ahead and select her name, go to change profile. Actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and create a new one. Let's create a new contact. So add new contact. And one thing I'm going to do here, I'm going to go to here and I'm going to select my team profile. If I wanted to move one of my current contacts over to my team profile, all I had to do is select more than one, click on bulk action and go down, change account. And it will then give me the option to change it over to my team, and I can change the account and then create the opportunity from there. For this example, I don't want to touch any of my current contacts. I'm just going to create a quick one real quick under my team profile. To do that, click on your name and go down the profile. I have no contacts in my team profile, so I'll go ahead and create one real quick. No worries. I'm going to go here. I'm going to click create real quick. And we are going to do Jon Snow, John at one thing I'll mention since I'm here, a contact cannot exist in your personal profile and the team profile. So if you have contacts in your personal profile that you wanted to move over to the team profile, you would do the bulk action way. For today's example, I'm going to create a new contact just to save me some time, and I don't want to mess with my current contacts in my personal profile. So I'm going to click create. Now, John, if I refresh here, John is in my team profile here. So now if I go back and go refresh this, create opportunity, and I go down to team, and I'm going to do buyer. Now, if I search John, there's Mr. Jon Snow. And then of course I would add in my address here. Same as I did before. We're not going to actually go through and create the whole opportunity, but I wanted to show you guys a couple things. You can, of course, link another buyer or another person who's involved in the transaction. They just have to exist in your database. If you go down here, you can add members of your team. So you don't want to add your rainmaker. So if you're on a team and you have another buyer's agent you're working with, or another admin, if you have an assistant or something like that, that's on the team officially, then you'll be able to add them to your opportunity, which means they'll be able to view your opportunity from their profile without having to look into your profile. So for this example, I would probably use like Marta. I can add her. This means that it's going to add an opportunity just like this one in their profiles. And that's how you would do that part there. This also is important if you guys are working in the same DocuSign, which means once you create this and you go to the, you go over to the opportunity into the documents tab and you go in there to create documents and you click to start a transaction. If you've put all your folks that are involved in this transaction here in the team, they'll each get a room as well, and you guys can collaborate in the room, get signatures together. You can see where one left off and where one began. So that's all I wanted to mention when it came to teams and when it comes to the rooms. So if you guys are working, if you're on a team officially and you're working with a transaction with other folks, just make sure to add them as assignees. You do not need to add your rainmaker here. Your rainmaker is your team leader. You don't have to add them here. You just hit create and it will do all that for you. So that's what I wanted to mention when it came to the teams and when it came to the rooms and creating the opportunity. Last 10 minutes that I have here, I'm going to spend on the features of the pipeline and the checklist that you have within each one of these pipelines. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on, let's go ahead and click on the 5 active ones that I have. These are all practice ones that I've created here for training purposes, of course. Each one of these you can drag through the stages of the opportunities by just simply clicking on them and dragging them over. There's no wrong or right way to do it. If you're also in the details tab and you update the phases by clicking this little pencil here and going through the opportunity phase and stages, it will move this opportunity down the pipeline as well. So however way you like to do it or see it, you can also update the stages in. So for instance, these 5 opportunities that we see here on the screen are all under my active stage. But if I wanted to move, let's say Aria is now under contract with what we did today, I can literally move her over to the under contract phase. So now she's gone. I have to click under contract to see where she is, and she's right here. So that's how that works. The cool thing that is also within these phases, you can edit these stages and you can also edit the checklists that are within each one of these. So for instance, if you click here, on the little checklist, you can update these items that are here. It could be under this stage. So this is the staging phase. It can be call your vendors or get the inspection done, whatever it is, painters, whatever the items are, you can add items here. You're completely in control of this. So there's no wrong or right way to do it. You can set a date. If you set a date, it will send you a notification via the bells icon, or if you've downloaded the command app, it will also send you a notification to your phone. So that's how that works. So real quick, if I go in here, and let me go back to that checklist. Once you've checked these items off, you can send an update to your clients. By default, this is turned off on purpose. If you want your clients to know if you wanted to update your clients on where the opportunity or where the transaction is at what point, you can create things such as, escrow drop off, inspection period, appraisal period, all those things that make sense to you and your business. You can go ahead and create a checklist and due dates. And if you turn on your notifications to your clients, they'll get one daily email with all the items that you've completed on that specific day. So I'll show you what that email looks like in a second. I do want to show you how you can edit these phases. So for instance, this one says staging. You can name it whatever you want to your specific account. So I'm going to close this and I'm going to go up here to edit stages. So as you can see here, the stages that come by default, depending on which one you're at, you have staging, showing, negotiations, and legacy. You can, of course, add stages and name it whatever you want and add a checklist with however many items that you want. So it's completely up to you. And then you can, of course, even edit these if you wanted to change the name of them, right? So there's all these options there. And then the other thing you can do is if you go under contract and you click edit stages, it'll let you edit these stages as well, add, take away, however you want to handle it. Of course, set reminders as well. So you can go in here and control all those items. You can also, let's go back here. I told you guys that I was going to show you what the list looked like if you were going to send your client a checklist. So we're going to go back here. And we're going to go to my example opportunity, which should be under contract, under ARIA. And we're going to click client updates. So as you see here, there's no checklist because I haven't created any, but you can of course create as many items as you want. You go under client updates and you can schedule when these updates go out. So again, it's going to be a one-time email and it's going to send them the items that you've completed in that phase, however many items those were. One thing is, of course, you have to turn these on and then select which email you wanted to go to. They'll get an email at the specific time that you select here. And then you can also, if I click turn on, you can then, of course, change that. You can assign yourself if you wanted to copy yourself on the emails. If you're using something like this, any email that you're sending to your database or to your clients, I recommend CCing yourself. This would be a version of that. That way, if they call you for whatever reason and say, hey, yeah, I got your email, you know what email they're talking about. And here's where you can preview what the email looks like. So if we click on preview, it'll be again, the logo here randomly changes. So that part is kind of funny, but then it'll have your information here. It'll have a short message, the property address that you entered into the opportunity. So that's another reason why you would want to make sure that under the details tab, you're entering in the correct information. This picture as of right now cannot be changed. However, in the future, they're talking about hopefully changing that. But here are the items that you would have checked off of your specific checklist that you picked. And then this is just, a little thing, a little clip. This to me is gold, just because some agents or some clients love to be updated on things. So this is an easy way to just update them on this little small things that just makes it seem like you're going out of your way to send them an email and a reminder, but it's something the system's doing for you. So this is the client update preview, keeping in mind that this is something you have to turn on. By default, it is off, which is a good thing. So that is pretty much everything I had to cover when it comes to opportunities and everything that's in here. Next month, I'm going to have the DocuSign 101 class, we're going to glide through all the stuff that I did today, right? The contact creating and creating the opportunity. And we're going to focus on the documents themselves and how to get things filled out and sent over to your clients for signature in a timely manner. But that's all I had today. So once again, this was Opportunities with Command. I'm Eric from the office. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to email me at mctt738@kw.com. And of course, you can schedule an appointment with me and let me know if you want to cover anything further. Hope you guys have a great day. Talk to you later. Bye.